Test, 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 test. Hey, folks, I'm your host, BKP, and we are at Circuit World in Blue Ridge, Georgia. The sun is shining. We're getting ready to get a Circuit World truck. What we do is we move a Circuit World truck in front of the big window to cut the glare off. So we're getting ready to do that. And Friday morning, we have, in just a minute, we have Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley. Dr. Whaley come in this morning and says, we have a great news in our COVID update, so I can't wait for that. After that, we have the all-star political panel. The band is back together. Everybody will be here on time. Joeen, Rick, and Bruce. So we have that, and then we have our pet of the week from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Now, want to welcome Lonnie this morning. You guys remember him. Emily is off today, and Lonnie is sitting in driving the Starship. Good Friday. It's Good Friday, and I hope you're excited about this weekend. Hope you're excited, and I've got my purple shirt and my off-color white jacket here. Look a little like spring, but hey, Lonnie, it's only 27 degrees. Sun is shining, only 27 degrees outside up here in North Georgia. But Good Friday, a lot of churches will have a Good Friday service tonight, and then you have Easter Sunday service with your family and friends. So that being said, we'll get right into today's programming. And, you know, I wanted to say this. Delta Airlines, that would be you, Delta. One, if everybody, you know, if at the gate, you know, I have flown several times, and if you're standing at the gate and there's 200 people there getting ready, and you're hearing somebody say, you're hearing them say, flight so and so to Philadelphia from Atlanta to Philly is now boarding. Okay, flight so and so from Atlanta to Philly is now boarding, and everybody has their boarding pass out. And when you start through security, you have your ID. The next time you go through, what if you tell them, I don't want to show you an ID. I don't want to show my ID. You should just, hey, I got a boarding pass. I got a boarding pass. The airline sent me a boarding pass. That's enough, okay? I want on the plane. But, we know we're not going to do that, and we know why we show the identification. SB 202 passed the Georgia State House and Senate, and Governor Brian Kemp signed it here in Georgia. The media is lying about the bill. I mean, they're lying about the bill. The bill expands voter opportunities in Georgia, expands them. So we will get into that later with the All-Star Political Panel. But now all of a sudden, Delta CEO is upset. Delta CEO is upset and is chiming in, as I like to say, on SB 202, the election integrity law here in Georgia. I'm going to say the nice words because it's Good Friday. Please be quiet, okay? Concern yourself on-time flights, Concern yourself on, the maintenance and of your planes, and safety for your passengers, and good service and good prices, and get out of elections and voting. You have no business in that. Why are you in that period? We don't need to hear from you, Delta. Now, a little interesting fact, many of you, and I'm going to tell this story, many of you noticed on the internet that House Speaker David Ralston had the House vote on an amendment, sine die, right? Sine die Thursday night. Had the House Speaker David Ralston in Georgia had an amendment put on a bill, a Senate bill, to remove. Now, Delta Airlines gets a very nice, gracious jet fuel tax exemption. Now, Delta gets a really nice jet fuel tax exemption. So House Speaker David Ralston put on Senate bill saying, hey, if Delta wants to run their mouth, my quote, if Delta wants to run their mouth, get rid of their tax exemption. Just tell them, okay, it's gone. So the House sent it over to the Senate, all right? We want to be clear here what happened and why that died on the last day of session. The House sent it over to the Senate. The Senate, and I won't mention who, took it to Lieutenant Governor. Now, the Lieutenant Governor presides over the Senate in Georgia. Took it to the Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor also, by saying that, makes the decision on what bills come on the floor and what do not get voted on. And a Lieutenant Governor said no. Jeff Duncan. So if you're out there and you're wondering and you're passing along, wow, they took Delta's jet fuel tax exemption. No, they didn't. They attempted to. The House voted on it and said, yes, get rid of their exemption. The Senate wanted to vote on it, so you can't go after the Senate members. They wanted it on the floor to vote on it, and it would have. Delta's fuel tax exemption would have been pulled if Jeff Duncan, the Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, would have allowed it on the floor. So I want blame where blame is due. Second, Coca-Cola. How about this really quick? How about this? Make a good product. Provide great products, put them in stores, put your marketing to where people will go to the shelf and want your product and purchase your product. And the lack of a better way to put it, shut up about elections. Shut up. Just sell your product. Market it. Hope that people buy your product. So a little shout out to House Speaker David Ralston, and I know some may have been upset because in Georgia it's almost like religion, Coca-Cola, if you're a native Georgian, right? But to close the session the other night, House Speaker David Ralston popped the top on a Pepsi. I like that. So nice move. Major League Baseball, play whatever you want. We don't care, okay? We don't care about your boycotts. We don't care what Delta says. We do not care what Coca-Cola, we don't care. Because we know the truth on SB 202. It actually expands a voters' ability to get out and vote. It expands the opportunity. It is a very good bill, and it does not do all the bad things that Stacey Abrams, Joe Biden, what's the guy down there south of Georgia, South Georgia, that makes all those movies, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey. It don't matter who it is. Those are all lies. Sorry. It's Good Friday. Let's enjoy our day. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be right back after this with Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
8 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days gets it done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, 1 nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge, we have your new house in stock.
Spring is coming. Time to work and play in a new truck or SUV from Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now save $8,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or save $5,000 off a new Chevy Equinox. The spring savings are here right now. So soak up that warm North Georgia sun and see Days Chevrolet in Jasper, #1 in truck country.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Folks, it is time. I'm your host, BKP. We are at Circuit World in Blue Ridge, Georgia. The sun is shining. Might be a little cold outside, but it is now time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley, brought to you by Georgia Cancer Specialist, affiliated with Northside Hospital. Dr. Whaley, how are you today?
I'm great. You see the tie, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking.
What's this tie mean? This is my deplorable Neanderthal, clutch your Bible, clutch your gun, Good Friday tie, right? So good. Look at this. Look at Lonnie. We got
Lonnie. That's a long title on that tie.
Yeah, but we got the first team over here. Lonnie, there's my flag. There's my Bible. Today is Good Friday.
We the people on there.
Right. We the people. I used to have one that had a gun on it, but my wife threw it away. Anyway, so that's the tie.
Can I borrow that tie?
You can, yeah.
Well, I like
you can have the rest of the day if you want it.
Well, I wear one Monday through Thursday on the show. I wear a tie every morning, and I got 2 American flag ties, and I'm ordering a couple more. So
get one with a Bible.
You like that? Yeah, I like that.
If you don't have one with a Bible.
No?
Okay, let's give the weather report.
Oh, you got a weather report.
We had 2.5 rains and hours of rain, inches of rain in an hour, I think, last what was it, Thursday or something. And you know, I've said we've been a little bit down, and we're okay now. And we got 5 days of beautiful sun coming here. God's shining on us on Holy Weekend.
Yes.
And in case you don't know, this is Passover. This is the Holy Week for the Jewish community. This is the Holy Week. We've had Ash Wednesday here back a few weeks. This is Good Friday today, and if people don't know, the Lord was crucified, dead and buried today, and the third day he rose again, and that's going to be on Sunday, and that's all the preaching I'm going to do this morning. I said.
Is that all the preaching you're going to do?
No, I'm going to say glory, hallelujah.
All right, no more preaching.
Right, but this is North Georgia. For God, I have the right to say glory, hallelujah, and amen.
There you go. Okay, hold on there.
Did you know my grandfather was a Baptist preacher?
No, I would have never picked that up.
All right,
now wait a minute. So, our good friend, is he still out on the yacht?
Oh yeah, he's on his yacht. Yeah.
Is he? Okay, Dr. Tidman.
Yeah, he's on.
He didn't name that the SS Minnow, did he? I
don't know. No, because otherwise he'd be aground somewhere today.
All right, Dr. Whaley.
I think it probably says hard work and hard knocks on it or something like that. I hope so.
Before we get to now, you come in this morning and you were all worked up, and you said we have some exciting, some really good COVID update news. So we're going to have that in just a minute.
No, we're going to have that at the end. We're going to do questions first.
That's right. Well, in so many minutes, we're going to have that.
Yeah.
So right now,
in about an hour, maybe.
You better, the All-Star panel, if they let you go, I don't care.
All right. there are a couple of words in here. Do you want to try and read it? You want me to
No,
read it?
I don't want to. If it ever comes down to
It's
a
got words here. Lonnie, there are words in this one here. This question has words in it.
Let's see. No, I'm not going to try.
All right, go ahead.
No, I'm
you
not-
get the part with the 17 years old. Here,
Yeah,
that part.
you go
All
right ahead.
All right, you ready? My daughter is 17 years old, and she has a heterozygous factor V Leiden deficiency, as do I and my sister. None of us has had any clots or bleeding, and my daughter is scheduled for tonsil surgery. Do we need to be concerned, and what is your long-term advice to her?
Well, first of all, you've got to explain to me. I don't know about those our viewers out there, but you have to explain to me first of all what they have.
Okay, all right. Well, this goes back. You've had this a lot of times. It came at it from different directions, and I think I'm glad it came this way because frequently we'll mention this in passing. You remember those ones we've had where people have had the big blood clots in the legs?
Yes.
And the pulmonary embolism, and then they're talking about long-term anticoagulation and that sort of stuff. Remember that? Okay, and then we've said, well, there are causative factors that can be genetic or acquired, and there are causative factors that are environmental, like a long car ride, remember, or you had your ankle broken, they put it in a cast. All right, so show that first picture. Factor V Leiden is one of an inherited group of let's say, enzymes or activities in your body, that's factor V Leiden, that is involved in the cascade of coagulation, which we're going to show something about in a minute because we've talked about it before. But this is talking about the genetics of it. So let's show that first picture. This is a picture. If you look at this picture, this, you got it up there? These people that are half black and half white here? Okay, so here is a male that carries a gene of any type. He's married to a female. Both of them look the same, don't they? That doesn't have that gene, and so these kids are going to get one gene from this parent and one gene from that parent. So you can have any of four combinations: none of the genes, or one of each of the genes. So there's two generations here. There's the sister and there's a sister and then the mother up at this generation, and then there's a daughter at this generation, and both of them have a single dose of this gene. There's no way that they can ever have children and any of the children have a double dose of the gene. Pull that down, Lonnie. When you've got a half a dose of a gene, you don't get the full impact, and it's not. Let's say if it's that gene for the Michael Jordan jump, and you're only going to get half the high jump, maybe, okay? If it's a bad thing, then you're only going to get half of the bad thing or even less. Okay, show that next one here. So you've seen this one a whole bunch of times. When they talk about people who have blood clots in their legs, blood clots in their lungs, I think we had one not too long ago who had been riding in a truck for 7 or 8 hours coming from, I don't know, Arizona or somewhere. It was the prolonged car ride. Well, in the general population, the chances that you're going to have some sort of a clot in your lifetime is less than 0.2%. That ain't very much. Almost like the death rate from COVID, isn't it? But any of these acquired deficiencies, it goes up. Now, so you don't care what they are, protein C, protein S. You've heard those before, remember, when we talked about a clot. But here's factor V Leiden. That's greater by 5% greater than the average population, up to 18%. Well, 18% is almost 20, isn't it? Okay, pull that down, Lonnie. So this child and the mother and the sister, if they had any stimulation, let's say a broken ankle or a long plane ride without getting up and walking around, would have a much greater chance of having a clot than the average normal person. That clot could kill you. It can come in your leg and kill you in the lung. Show this next one, because we got to always confuse people. This is the coagulation cascade. So I want you just to imagine that you have just cut yourself. So when you cut yourself, There are two pathways to make your blood clot. One that's internal and one that's external. Now, does that look pretty confusing, Lonnie? I want everybody to be confused so that they'll be really impressed when their hematologist talks to them. Pull that thing down because it's so confusing. But this thing right here is the bane of many, many pre-med students' understanding of clotting, and they say, if it's that daggum complicated, I'm going to go to law school or something. I mean, so learning about that will separate the men from the boys. I guess that's not proper anymore, the men from the boys, is it? So it separates the aggressively smart to the rest of them. Okay, so when you go to this next one here, this is these different facts or factors that affect the clotting, like obesity, or having the factor V Leiden, or the inactivity. Pull that down, Lonnie, or the hormones. Now we all know that they say we don't want to give women estrogen replacement that have got a tendency to clot. One of the things that's on that last thing we looked at, where we were talking about obesity, was inactivity and pregnancy. So the question is, do we need to be concerned? The answer is no, because the tonsillectomy is not associated with any increased incidence of blood clots. If it was a knee operation, just a simple knee scope job, the answer would be yes, but not a tonsillectomy. So no, you don't need to be concerned. Now, what was the rest of the question? Long-term advice. So here's the long-term advice. You got that one up, Lonnie? You got that chart up? It's always got to be a chart. So here's a heterozygote, has not had any surgery, immobility, obesity, is not pregnant. So what's the advice? Never give this 17-year-old estrogen-containing contraceptives. That's important, right? A 17-year-old girl is going to sooner or later be thinking about birth control. So that's going to be one. Second, tell her that the other things that could stimulate her clotting would be obesity. Maintain a lean body weight. And yes, if you have to have a knee surgery or a big belly operation, take something to prevent you from clotting. And when and if you get pregnant, you probably are going to want to take something during that pregnancy to prevent clotting. So, okay, Lonnie, you can pull that down. So basically, those are just, there's nothing serious in there. There's nothing there that should be scary. Just stay away from estrogen-containing birth control pills, and if you get pregnant, work with your gynecologist on should you be taking an aspirin or something else, and maintain lean and ideal body weight for a lifetime and stay physically active.
Okay.
You like that one?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. As you know from week after week, Dr. Whaley really puts a lot of research into all the questions to bring you great detail on the answer. So never hesitate to send your questions.
Are you accusing me of building a watch?
No, I didn't.
What they say now is, ask Dr. Whaley what time it is, and he'll tell you how to build a watch. I don't want to build a watch. I want to tell you what time it is.
Actually, I'm telling them that if they'll send a question, you won't just come out here and give a flip answer 2 or 3 minutes and go play golf.
No, I don't know how to do that.
Right. That's
okay.
Right.
All right.
If they want an answer.
Maybe it's a simple watch. Okay,
right.
go ahead.
It's a simple watch.
All right, go ahead.
Anyhow, do they make a Timex anymore? I don't even know.
You know, I hope they do, because that was a standard, wasn't it?
Well,
you could run over it, you could drop it in the ocean, you could swim with it, and it cost $8.
All right, so anyhow, I don't know why. You said watch. Don't sidetrack me.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Georgia Cancer Specialist, affiliated with Northside Hospital.
Right.
For this segment, we have our second question of the day. Go ahead.
All right, now this doesn't have too many great big words, but it's got some of them. All right, I'm 70 years old and I have prostate cancer. I have had 4 years since surgery. Okay, so now we know that he had localized prostate cancer and it was removed by surgery.
Right.
And my PSA is up, so we know that it wasn't up before because it's now up. And my PCP says I have a spot on my scan. Now, we just went through this a couple of weeks ago about recurrent prostate cancer in multiple locations. So he has a spot. He didn't say multiple spots, did he? The urologist wants me to see a radiologist about gamma knife treatment. You remember when that Gamma Knife is the radiosurgery? You zoom in on a brain lesion just on a tiny thing.
Right.
And you do that in place of surgery. Well, we've talked about it in the brain, right? We've talked about it on lung cancer many times of people who are not a surgical candidate, and you can do that just about as well as you can with surgery. So this Gamma Knife we've talked about many times before. Talk about Gamma Knife treatment and a medical oncologist for some shots and pills. What is your advice, and why did this happen all of a sudden after 4 years of negative blood tests? So we know he was followed by his PCP or his urologist. He had no evidence of recurrence. 4 years later, his PSA is rising. They did a scan, and somewhere there's a single spot. He tells us one more thing. My Gleason score was 7, if that is any help. Well, that's a huge help, because you remember most of the prostate cancers we've said before, Gleason 6. Gleason 6 prostate cancer doesn't spread as much. Gleason 7 spreads more frequently, and that's, I think, why they've been following him so closely. So where is that? Put up that first one. So what you're talking about here, this is a concept that's important to remember. This says metastasis-directed therapy for oligometastatic disease. Well, oligo means one location, not multiple. And he told us that with a one spot. Right,
Yeah,
Lonnie?
one spot.
One spot.
Not
Show
multiple.
that next picture. Now, this is a little bit hard to see, but this is the prostate gland down here. So what has happened in most prostate cancers, as we've seen before, is when it spreads, it got into the bloodstream, and the bloodstream dropped it off in multiple bones or multiple lymph nodes and bones, and that's called systemic disease, meaning it's everywhere. On the opposite side, it only dropped it off in one spot. That's oligometastatic. Now take that one down, and this will be a lot easier to understand. So if you just look at this, this is a time frame here. So the patient first had prostate cancer. It was treated by local treatment, probably. He had surgery. Some have surgery plus radiation. He didn't say he didn't have. And now, here, this period was 4 years for him. And now he's got a single spot. Well, left without therapy, through a more period of time, here, see, he's got a whole bunch of spots on this spot. All right, take that down, Lonnie. Got that down? But that's pretty clear to understand, right? It starts out with one spot. This guy does, luckily. Other people start out over here with bunches of spots. Now, we've always got to have a chart like this. All right, you ready? You ready, that big old chart? Okay. Non-targeted therapies for metastatic prostate cancer. So these, you can pull that down. I just want everybody to see it's 100 of these. But what he's telling you is that he's going to go to the doctor and get treatment. Excuse me, they're recommending that he get treatment with shots or pills. That's what this is, non-targeted therapy. All right, now you've got to make, what is this definition of oligometastatic prostate cancer? Is it one lesion, or would you say 3 lesions? You know, if you had 3 little spots, would you have 5? Would you say 10? So basically, what does that say? The definition is evolving and may be dependent on what scan he had. Pull that down, Lonnie. So we're going to think that he had the highest degree of scanning. That, you got it down? That's called an axiom PET scan. You've heard about PET scans. Well, this is a specific PET scan that's directed to prostate cancer. So show this last one. You can't ever talk about cancer without seeing these things, right? Always got to have the survival curve. So both of these, that upper level right there is the shots and the pills, with the radiation therapy. And the lower levels, the shots and the pills without the radiation therapy. So clearly you can pull that down, Lonnie. What they are recommending for him gives him an added, that everything between those two lines is added survival and cure. So what they're telling him is, we're still treating your disease like it was localized when you were first diagnosed. We're going to treat it just like we removed it before, but now you're going to be taking, remember, those hormone shots and those other things that are going to decrease the chances that it can recur. So they are giving you the absolute best advice about your prostate cancer, and the reason that it recurred was the Gleason 7, because it was more active at the first. Now, you didn't ask me, but did anybody do anything wrong? And the answer is absolutely not. And did anybody do anything right? And the answer says everybody did something right, because clearly they've been checking you frequently, and your PSA has always been normal. And as soon as it got abnormal, they got all over it like a tick on a June bug. They scanned you. They've decided to give you Gamma Knife to wherever this spot is, and then to give you one of those non-targeted therapies off that huge chart, which if they're shots and pills, I can tell you what they are, but I don't want to steal their thunder. So you got the right treatment. There you go.
Folks, thank you very much for your questions. Don't forget, you can send questions to Ask the Doc at info, I-N-F-O, at fetchernews.com. You can follow us on social media, anywhere on social media. Send us messages on Ask the Doc, and we will get those questions to him. You can also always watch these segments back and share them with your family and friends. If you go to fyntv.com, you will find them on Ask the Doc there. Thank you, Georgia Cancer Specialist, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for the segment. So now it's time for you come in, and I've been waiting for this because earlier when you came in before we started the show, you said you have some really exciting, good COVID news updates.
I know, but I'm like that girl you're dating and taking out to get dinner and everything.
Easy there.
All right. So next, what's this
Don't
right
get
here?
us all in trouble. It's Good Friday. Don't get us
All
in
right.
trouble.
What's all this? This is the news of the week, right?
Right. Yes.
All right. The first thing in the world I want to say is, because we kept talking about the masks and everything. I think Wisconsin's not a pinko state. They used to have a great Republican governor, but just yesterday, Wisconsin Supreme Court strikes down mask mandate. Praise the Lord for Wisconsin. I don't think you should mandate masks in anything. But if you go to, here's where I want to go. Many people show long-term organ damage after COVID. I have been saying repeatedly that. I want the schools open. I want people playing sports. I said today when we began, we weren't on the air, that canceling a baseball game because one guy had COVID is absolutely stupid. But once you've got COVID and have been sick enough to be hospitalized or take oxygen, now that's not 99% of the COVID. 99% of the COVID is you don't smell too good, you feel good, you go back to school. But if you have been required oxygen, or if you have been hospitalized, you have at least a 30% chance of being rehospitalized or getting sick again. But it's 27 times. What's that? 2,700% greater that you will have a follow-up lung disease. 3 to 5 times greater you'll have significant heart disease. 1.5 times that you'll have fatal diabetes. And of the people, now listen to this really carefully, of the people who have been sick enough to require oxygen at home or be hospitalized, now that's the tiniest group of the patients with COVID, 1 in 3 of those people will be readmitted to the hospital. Got that? And of them, 10% will die. And their death certificate will say pulmonary fibrosis, heart disease, uncontrolled diabetes, liver failure or something, and not COVID. So when my bride sends you a text or an email that says COVID deaths overestimated by so-and-so because the death certificate said heart, lung, liver, that's why. They died 6 weeks or 12 weeks after the acute COVID attack from the hanger-on thing. And that's the one thing I've said about athletes. If you got COVID, you're a baseball player or something, don't go back to playing until somebody's cleared your heart. Now, the last thing is we've always talked, this is Ray, I'm doing this for you. cancers are being diagnosed at later stages. He says you're not getting enough screening. So this study just was reported yesterday, and this is from Great Britain. So it's going to be a very uniform population. They don't have as many diverse, like Hispanics and stuff as we have. It's a little more educated, a little more socially homogeneous population. Screening tests were down between the start of the COVID virus, exactly a year ago, right, March to March, by 73%. And in the last 90 days, as this thing is beginning to open up, the cancers that are diagnosed are at a higher stage. So that delay of 1 year is causing people that have got diagnosed with cancer at a higher stage, meaning later in the disease, like that thing we showed earlier with the oligometastatic disease along that timeline.
Right.
You want to get it on the short end of the timeline, not the long end of the timeline. So if you're still staying home, you're not getting your mammogram, you're not getting your colonoscopy, it's time to go get it. Now, you ready for the good news?
Yes,
Because
we
we're
are.
getting close to the man, right?
Yes.
What's this right here?
That's COVID-19 testing.
And what's that big blue thing from? Georgia?
Georgia
Department
of Health.
You got
Georgia's
that thing
Department
up,
of Health
Lonnie?
website.
All right, here we go. I want everybody. Is Rick in? Are there people in the green room yet?
Yes.
Green room full? Yeah. All right, I want you to read this out loud now because this is easy to read. This is the percent positive tests reported in the state of Georgia yesterday was
4.4%.
Wait a minute, say it louder.
4.4%.
You remember it's been 14, it's been 15. We haven't had a day on here. We had a couple of days a few weeks ago when it was 9 and 8 and went right back up above 10, remember?
Right.
Way back, what's that Napoleon guy's name that's the doctor that's been on TV for a year?
Fauci.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is that his name, Fauci?
Yeah, Fauci.
All right, and that other lady...
Your clues are great.
Okay, the other lady, Dr. Blitz or what?
Yeah,
Blitzer,
okay, all right.
Blitzer,
Got it,
Blitzer,
got it.
Blitzer. What did they say? What did they say way back in March? What was the number?
It was under 10.
5.
5. I'm
When
right,
you
5.
reach
Right, under 10.
5%.
This is the go rate. This is go. Open
go.
up.
Let's
do
go.
It. Right.
10%. Loosen was loosen.
Right. 10%.
Right. We opened up Georgia. 10% they opened up Texas, Florida. And we had, and Georgia, when we opened up. Now wait a minute. Go back and think. We opened up really early, didn't we?
Yes.
We got criticism from everybody. We got criticism from everybody in Washington.
Actually,
D.C.
I think Georgia was the first state, one of the first states. Okay.
Somebody just stole your truck.
Georgia was one of the first states to. Sorry, that's our truck for
That's our
keeping
that's
the
our
light.
moving shade
So
there.
anyhow, Georgia was one of the first states to loosen up, and the criticism was enormous.
And what they say, we were going to have a huge wave of positive tests.
Right.
What's that number again?
4.4.
Now, what's going on up north in New York and all those states that have been like this all the time? They're getting worse, aren't
I think
they?
New Jersey, the testing's going up.
Yeah, what are they doing? They're shutting down, getting worse,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Getting worse. All right. I can't think of any more positive information than that right there. Now, I want to tell you something that bothers me. I said this last week. I'm going to focus on nursing homes first. Nursing home staffs nationwide, in my opinion, should be the highest rate of vaccination because they're working with this most fine of the China, Ray. And their rates are somewhere in the 60-70% range. Other healthcare places are in the range of 50. Now, if you can't get the people that work in a nursing home to take the vaccine, I mean, I just don't know what to tell you. I got people I know really well that haven't had vaccine. I'm not going to go any further than that. But, yeah, and you got people coming on. I think the hazard benefit ratio is on the benefit side. Now, Ray sent out a thing last week that if you're a 30-year-old woman, you're pregnant, and you got children at home that are young, it's very reasonable not to take the vaccine, because if you get the COVID, you aren't going to get very sick, and you're still having babies. You don't know what the long-term effects of that is, and nobody has studied that. And if you're in childbearing years and you're worried about your baby, don't take the vaccine. You aren't going to get very sick if you get the COVID. I totally agree. But if you're a TV host and you're gray-headed and you're a few pounds on overweight, I believe that the hazard-benefit ratio of taking this vaccine is on your side. And if
we run into anybody like that,
if we do, and if we run into anybody in the green room, if there's anybody in the green room who's 70 or older and a touch on overweight, or 70 and younger and sort of lean and fit looking,
no one's exempt this morning, folks.
No, and if there are people at home watching who are, well, I'm not going to talk about that. But anyway, I'm just telling you.
Leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
We'll take it.
We can't make them change. We can't make them change their behavior. But I am still of the opinion that for people who, you're not having any more children, as best I can tell. And I mean, I don't believe that you're just talking about you.
Okay.
I think it's better. I think the benefit for you outweighs the hazard.
Okay. All right. Point well taken.
All right.
The big news today, trying to come out from under, trying to find somebody, gray hair and all those, I don't know. But the big news today is Georgia's
4.4%.
Positive rate is 4.4%.
Fannin County. Let's bring it local. Fannin County's death rate at this moment, I think they added one case in this last week, and that case was dug up. It's something that somebody died, 8 weeks ago or something. So we're really doing a great job in our local community with a much reduced case rate, meaning positive test rate, and much reduced hospitalization rate, and I think a zero death rate for the last few weeks.
Let me say this, and let me ask you this question before we get out. Obviously, if you have a cold and you walk in a room of 10 people, okay, odds are maybe all 10 will get a cold, 8 of them will get a cold, but they get a cold. And then the next week, 10 people recover from the cold. I guess where I'm going with that, and I always have to be careful because, it's not the same. COVID's not the same. But we have situations, let's say Florida, when they talk about spring break. If one person, it's obvious, goes into this crowd and they have COVID, and there's 100 people, odds are that's going to elevate. People are going to get it. And that's just a fact. But the next week, they're going to recover from it. So
they might be taking it back to Indiana and passing it around to more people.
But so we see in some of these things escalating numbers, but then they come back down. I mean, how concerned are you? I think baseball stadiums should be full capacity. I think you should. I think you should sit next to this person. I've
been telling you that all along. I mean, and kids who wrestle, like my grandson, should be able to shake hands after the daggone wrestling match. Here, what you just described actually is sort of community vaccination, isn't it?
Exactly.
So you got a bunch of people who aren't going to get very sick, and they're going to make each other have the virus. Back when we were children, our mothers used to have parties to pass around chicken pox, remember? Because everybody chicken pox was so infectious that if one person in the house had it, then other people said, well, I never had chicken pox, my brother had it. You had it, you just didn't have much of a case. Well, back in the days before we had vaccines, since children had to get chicken pox, when one kid would get chicken pox, all the other parents would bring the kids over to the house so they could get the chicken pox, and they could quit worrying about the chicken pox. They had chicken pox parties in the 1940s and 1950s so that people's children would get chickenpox. Now, that's just community immunization done by mothers back in the day. So I don't know any mothers that are bringing kids to having COVID parties, but basically that what you described is a little wrinkle on that, isn't it?
Well, hey folks, it's April.
It's sunny.
It's sunny.
Get
it's
outdoors.
Baseball season. It's play ball, and it's go to the ballpark, and we'll leave it at that. It's time to go to the ballpark.
Time to go to the ballpark, yeah.
All right. So
And go to church on Sunday.
Absolutely. Sit next to your neighbor. Georgia Cancer Specialist, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We appreciate it so much for the segment. Now, let's not forget, friends, you can always look these segments up. It's real simple, fyntv.com, fyntv.com. Look at the top, ask the doc, go there. You can get some information on Dr. Whaley, how to contact him through that. Also get information on Northside Hospital. Find the segments, share them with your family and friends. Okay, we're out.
He is risen.
Yes, indeed. We will see you next week.
Yes,
you have
sir.
a great Easter Sunday. We'll be back right after these messages with the All-Star Political Panel.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days gets it done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, 1 nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Spring is coming. Time to work and play in a new truck or SUV from Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now save $8,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or save $5,000 off a new Chevy Equinox. The spring savings are here right now. So soak up that warm North Georgia sun and see Days Chevrolet in Jasper, #1 in truck country.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP, and we are at Circuit World in downtown Blue Ridge, Georgia. Beautiful morning, a little crisp. We'll go with crisp, like I think maybe we're up to 30, 31 degrees now, but a little cool outside. But the sun is shining. Great Easter weekend. It is Good Friday here on the show. It is time for the All-Star Political Panel. We have Bruce, Rick, and Joanne, and a lot to talk about. I'd like for all of you to, before we close today, it's Good Friday, just maybe share something about your Easter weekend. Maybe even, I don't know, tell a joke if you have one.
You got a joke?
Huh? That was so set. That wasn't
If
set
I knew
up, was
jokes.
it? That wasn't set up, right? But anyhow, so getting there.
Since I have no place to go.
So anyhow,
Sets the stage, boss.
yes, exactly. We have a lot going on, right? We have the Georgia legislative session ended this week. We have SB 202. We have the liberals out lying at every turn about what SB 202 really is, the Georgia integrity law. They leave out the fact that it actually does expand voting opportunities and makes it more available for voters in Georgia. But if you just tell the lie, that's what they need to do. So we have that. We have H.R. 1 trying to federalize elections. We have the cardboard cutout president, Joe Biden, out there trying to sell you on why we need to spend another $2 to $4 trillion on infrastructure, on and on. So we got a long, long list. And then we have, no, I'm not going there. Anyhow, I'm not bringing it up. But, so, I know you guys all pay attention throughout the week, and I know each and every one of you have different things that you focus in on and pay attention to. They blame, I don't want to go the election right now, but every time you turn on TV, it's Trump told the big lie, the big lie, the big lie. But it's interesting, Democrats and the media can carry that water. They can tell the big lie about anything, and they don't get called out. Infrastructure, the big lie is it's not to repave roads. It is a total takeover. When you see headlines, and I'll stop here because I want to give you guys opportunity for a subject this week. When you hear headlines that Joe Biden is going to see if the Democrat big government way of capitalism will work, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a big government way of capitalism. Corporate tax is going to go up, but they lead you to believe, and this is where I want to get out of this right now and turn it over to you. Corporate tax, they say, is going to go up from 21 to 28%, but they talk about it like every corporation is the mega rich, and they're going after them. There's a lot of small businesses that file as corporations that will get hurt. Now, so let me say that, get out of the way. What is your subject of the week, Joanne? We'll go right down the line. What subject would you like to get some time in this morning?
You didn't say you could only have one.
And you can only tell one joke.
Okay, all right. Anyway.
Yes, one joke, one subject. That's it, boy.
Okay.
This is how it works.
I think what Brian was just saying was that the smoke screen on this infrastructure bill, just like all of the other bills, is just to try to get you to not pay attention because it sounds good. And in this American Jobs Plan, where only of the 2.4 trillion, only 621 billion, which is a lot of money, okay, but we've gotten so we talk trillions, billions must not be much, is for roads, bridges, public transport, rail, ports, waterways, airports, and electric vehicles. That's 8 different categories. So when you divide it, it wouldn't be even, but let's, for math purposes, that's only 77 billion per subject. And just to give you a perspective on how that will be, because we have 230,000 bridges in desperate need of repair. 230,000. And if the 77 billion for bridges, that even at 100 million each only fixes, 770 bridges of the 230,000. And like that I-35 bridge in Minneapolis that collapsed, that was 234 billion. So 100 billion is kind of a low number for bigger bridges. But the thing that worries me is in this infrastructure and the American jobs plan is what they've buried, and that is they want you to sound like the National Domestic Workers Alliance. That this whole thing is to improve working conditions for caregivers. 400 billion. That's almost as much as the infrastructure part. 400 billion for caregivers. Have you ever tried to hire a person to help you as a caregiver? This isn't for people that work at assisted living. These are people that work in your homes, okay? They're going to now organize these people so they could get more money and to improve their working conditions. Their working conditions are inside your home. 400 billion is going to be for this caregivers thing, to give us some relief for those that have to take care of people at home. When the government gets involved, we can't afford to hire people to help us now. I mean, I just lost a good friend last week that when he got out of the hospital to have full-time care was going to be over $12,000 a month in home at today's prices, okay? If the government gets involved and if they have to come in and decide if your house is conducive to an outside worker coming in, next thing you know, we're going to have OSHA in our house, and did you see that extension cord laying there? That type of thing. These things are in this bill. 400 billion for this.
Yeah, and it gets worse after
all right,
that.
well, wait a minute.
It's all about picking winners and losers.
We'll keep going with that. But Rick, what say you as far as what subject she's laying out here?
Well,
today?
The number seems to vacillate. Some you hear 5% to infrastructure, up to 15%, but the remainder of it is all social reengineering.
Yes.
It's all about electric cars. It's about climate change, and it's the Green New Deal with a different name on it.
Right.
It's all about losing fossil fuels in 10 years. It's about building more energy stations for cars. It's the most ridiculous thing. At AOC, we're not doing nearly enough.
She wants 10 trillion.
We need 10 trillion. 10 trillion. Sandy has the lowest IQ I've ever seen.
Don't argue with an economics major.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Bruce, what is in this infrastructure package that is alarming to you? I'd like to stay on that for a little bit because I'd like to stay on this just for a little longer because.
Yeah, a lot is very, disturbing. I mean, as he said, they're talking about building a nationwide network for charging electric cars.
Well, guess where the batteries come from? Coal.
Well, guess what?
Well, the transmission lines and the standards. Right now for electric cars, the plugs and things are different. There's no standardization yet. So, do you have multiple plugs at these things, and who pays?
Well,
it's ridiculous.
I studied that this morning on how much it costs to charge an electric car. And it depends on the size of your charging station, therefore how fast it does.
That's right.
So
Quick
if
chargers,
you pay the $7,000 to put in the high 50 kilowatt per hour charging station in your home, then you can charge it in 48 minutes. But otherwise, it's all night. So to recharge your car to go, 150 miles or 200 miles is $14.80 or whatever. So they're trying to say that how this compares with gasoline, but how is that electricity being created? It's coal and
exactly, that's what I just said.
Nuclear, hydro,
gas, hydro, and whatever. Now, if you do it with solar, the numbers were so astronomical, I couldn't even fathom.
You cannot build, there's not enough land on the planet
Right.
to put solar panels out to generate
But there's
enough
enough ocean to float out those windmills.
Right.
No, I'm serious, right? They're going to put the windmill farms out in
in the water.
Yeah.
But
in the
you-
water.
And that's proven to be like very contentious.
In General Motors, by 2035, the bulk of their cars are going to be electric.
Good.
VW, in 2021, they're going to double the sales of their electric cars. Volvo, by 2030, intends to sell only electric cars. And so, how are we going to handle this? How are they going to, they want to totally eliminate every internal combustion engine. And so how will you pull a travel trailer, or how will you pull big equipment, these
won't.
trucks that pull...
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing right here.
How will you fly to Europe?
How will you operate?
Electric airplanes are later.
Let me go into this. Okay? So I know what some would say out there, because they say this to me. Hey, you got to step into technology. You've got to embrace it. You got to realize we have no choice to move past fossil fuel, yada, yada, yada. Okay? Now, I don't see, hold on with those bad words there. It's Good Friday. I could hear, I know what you just said, and they know it too. Anyhow, I'm used to that out of Bruce, not you. Anyhow, the point is so am I wrong on do we need part stores? Are we going to need part stores? Who's going to sell spark plugs? I mean, don't need them anymore, right? So how about all the part stores across the United States? And people are going to say, no, wait a minute, you're going to extremes. Really? How many people work in the part stores? Boom. You look at these numbers. Hey, I know a dealership up here, or many mechanics. There's probably right up here north of me, 20 people are working in 2 dealerships in repairs and one thing after another.
Yep.
Service. I mean, it's a trickle-down effect. And I know what AOC and Joe Biden would tell me, but there's billions in here to retrain. I get tired of that. We're going to retrain you for the next generation of jobs.
Yeah, they don't even know what those are.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, look, they can learn to code.
Yeah. The
You
pipeline
understand what I'm
workers
saying?
are
Something
still out of work.
that you mentioned earlier, though, see, to me, the entire bill is to get control of whatever few things are still under control of the states and local governments.
Total control.
Okay.
This is the finish
And
off total control.
This clean water thing. Everybody wants clean water to drink, but what does that really mean? Because this is not cleaning up the Ohio or the Allegheny or the Monongahela. See, I even know that river. All right, all those rivers.
Oh, by the way, it flows north.
Okay, all those rivers and streams were cleaned up decades ago, okay? This is about the little branches and streams and things that cross your pasture, that cross your front yard, that are in your rain barrels that you collect rainwater in. Okay, this is to make sure that that water, that you don't pollute somehow. So they're going to ban anything you use in your yard. You're going to have a silt fence if you rototill for your garden. And God help you if you want to use a sump pump from your little stream to water your vegetable garden or whatever.
Yeah, I know somebody that did that one time.
Yeah, or what about your little goats, that drink out of the stream? Because, they might poop in it.
All right,
And
wait a minute. All right, stop. I got where you're going. I like what you said a minute ago. Out there, people need to just call this what it is. They do polling, and sadly, our lives are affected by their polling data. And the Green New Deal did not poll very well.
Right.
It didn't poll very well, and when you set people down and actually tell them the truth, it's just like SB 202. If you sit somebody down and actually tell them the truth on that law, they're like, oh, well, that's not what Stacey Abrams says, and that's not what Joe Biden says, and that's not what MSNBC says. Yeah. But the polling on the Green New Deal did not go very well. So everybody loves infrastructure. Everybody loves the thought of upgrades, and we need it in America. Everybody loves that. So let's switch and mask the Green New Deal under infrastructure. That's where we'll go. That's what you said.
It's
and that's
exactly
what it
right.
is.
I mean, everybody is for infrastructure repair, including myself.
Right.
But not to the point where 85% of the bill is social reengineering. I'm not going to rehash everything that we
Right.
just said, but that's the part that people like. But you're right. They do it under a different guise, and they come back, and they keep coming back under, HR 1. What do they call HR 1?
We the People.
We the People Act. Really? Well, on the surface, it doesn't sound bad. Till you get into the damn...
Sounds very patriotic.
It sounds very patriotic. So does this infrastructure thing. It
But-
sounds like this is what we should be doing.
HR 1 wants to take over redistricting in
That's
the
right.
states, redistricting, and then they will gerrymander the states. Well, there's a couple, let me get a couple more points on this so I can get to Rick and Bruce. Another point in this, because I like we're talking the infrastructure bill today. A couple more things. One, this is a big gift to the unions, just a major gift to the unions. They plan to unionize everything moving, plan to unionize it, put it under control, right to work, and I gave this as a homework assignment on the show yesterday, not to take up too much time, right to work, they want to end that, the state's right to work, card checks and things like that. Unions are absolutely loving this because they did not like you making your own decision on whether you wanted to join the union or not to pay their dues. They like for you to be demanded to do that. So one, this is a gift to the unions. I'd like to cover that, get everybody in on that. And two, before we close this subject, the tax, the lie, the tax and who it's really going to hurt and who's really going to pay it. Quit believing the 400,000 thing. Quit believing that. You will, the little guy out there and the little lady or whatever, you're all going to pay some form of tax. So just on those two areas, what say you?
Well, the tax thing, I think the average person, as soon as they hear it's only people that make over 400,000, 80% of the country then shuts off. I don't need to worry about this tax bill.
You hit
okay?
it, they shut it off. They do
It's
that on
like,
purpose.
I don't
That shuts
I
them
don't
off.
need to pay any attention to it because it's only for the wealthy, and I support that. But
Let me
that's
add to
not-
that real quick, because you're 100% right. All they got to do is say 400,000 and increase corporate tax, and that shuts a segment off. They don't listen anymore.
Right, because now I'm going to get all these things and someone else is paying for it. And that is such a bunch of bull. First of all, the corporate tax, believe me, if they pay more tax, they just add more to everything you buy, right? So you're going to pay in that respect. But back to this other thing, this 400,000, the things that they're also going to mess with, and as soon as they say capital gains, you think, well, I don't own any stocks, so you stop listening. But you probably own a house. And when you go to sell that house, you've lived in that house for 10 or 15 years or maybe 30 years. And we're not talking about these mega mansions or $1 million house. Let's say you paid $130,000 for a house 10 or 15 years ago, and now it's worth $200,000. You've got $70,000 in equity that right now you don't pay any tax on. There's nothing to report it on. That's your money. And if you now want to sell this in this little subdivision and you want to go build you a cabin somewhere and retire, and you bought some land and you're building this house and you think everything's cool till next April 15th when you find out that you owe $19,500 in extra tax on that $70,000 because there's now a 28% capital gain on the sale of your house. And that's what they're planning to do, and it affects every single person in this country. And what you thought was your wealth, that you haven't been able to save much money, but you know you have equity in your home. And right now, $250,000 for a single person and $500,000 for a couple is excluded. You don't pay tax on. So if you happen to have bought a house and you've lived in it for 30 years and you've got $400,000 in equity and you think you're going to retire and move to some rural area and buy a home and not owe anything, think what the tax will be on that. That's
And that is something.
That's the flip side of this whole Green New Deal thing.
But
How are we gonna pay for it?
Here's the thing for Americans out there, and I couldn't be happier for this generation. You work your whole life, you're retired, husband and wife, work your whole life, put your kids through college, actually pay for the college, wasn't free. You got through all that, paid your mortgage off, you did all the things you're supposed to do. And then you say to your financial advisor, okay, I can get $425,000 out of the house. We've got another little second home that we had. So I can put together $600 and some $1,000. I can go up in the woods and retire, put a couple $150,000 in a cabin, $200, take the rest and my monthly retirement check or Social Security and just enjoy it. But that's who's going to get hit.
See, we all have that equity out there, and the government wants it. Okay?
Yes.
They know now that you actually have some money, and you aren't going to need them. They got to keep us needing them. And the other thing is inheritance.
Death tax.
They're talking about the people that are, say, my age, the age of the people here. Okay, that we're the last sort of wealth group. We have been able to accumulate a few dollars.
Last wealth, the rest are living off the wealth.
Yes, and
Right.
our children will never have the opportunities that we've had because the government has stepped in. But we can leave money to our children that they can then use for retirement. No one can live on just Social Security. But they got to get that money too. And right now, 11.6 million can be excluded from the death tax. So you can pass on up to that. So if you have accumulated between the equity in your home and your IRA account, see, right now you can leave your IRA that you didn't use, if there's some left by chance, you can leave it to your children. They don't want you to be able to leave that to your children. And it used to be you could leave it for one generation could get that, and they could retire on it. Now it has to be spent in 10 years. They've already changed that part. So
that was the Trump Act.
Yeah, I thought my children, who will never have a retirement plan, at least if I didn't spend all of my IRA, which I'm trying to, but anyway.
We'll help you if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Hold on there, folks.
But my
Party time at
children-
Keith's house.
But they're trying to change it now to 1 million. So you can only pass on 1 million, and they're going to take 50 to 70%
Right.
of what's left. So here I scrimped and saved, and I did without most of my life, so I didn't have to work when I was 70. All right, I did without when I was younger, and I thought at least I would be leaving some of this to my children. And now I find out that if this plan goes through, the government will take it all, and my children will get virtually nothing.
All right, now wait a
And
minute.
it's after-tax money to start with.
Do what now?
It's
It's
after-tax.
after-tax money
Right, I
already.
paid
You've already paid
taxes.
taxes on it.
You've already, right.
Yes.
So,
Right.
they're double
It's
dipping big time.
double taxation. It always has been.
Always has been double tax. So, look, I think this has been really great.
So this affects the people that make $30,000 a year, okay? These laws they're changing. It's not just on the 400,000. If you only make 30,000, they're making sure you don't get anything.
But people obsess about tax rates and,
Yes.
400,000, 200,000, all that. Any tax thing they're going to do is going to ripple through the economy.
Right.
Through corporations, through small businesses, and people are going to be affected by that no matter what. So, I mean, it isn't just once a year, when you do out your tax form, you're going to be paying higher prices for everything every day.
Let me say this. Let's Rick, on this subject here, because we can come back if we have time. I want to make sure that if both we get some other subjects in. Anything else on this? I mean, I think it's obviously. It's,
I mean, we do a
it's
whole
gift,
show on
it's
this.
a gift to
just-
the unions.
Yeah. For some reason, Pete Buttigieg thinks that if we do the infrastructure thing, all of a sudden the hurricanes are going to go away.
Well, that's why the kids are coming to the border. It's climate change and the hurricanes that we've caused.
It's just
and
when you listen to some of these people, you just think, really, who buys this stuff?
It's a religion.
It's a
well, there you go. We have replaced God with
the government.
With the government, when the government is rescuing, and the government is who you turn to in your time of need. Okay?
Yep.
But can he fix the tornadoes?
All right, so let's do this. Rick,
alone, no.
Rick, do you have a subject this morning that you wanted to?
I'd like to make an announcement. I'd like to let everybody know that the Cubs and the Braves will not have an undefeated season this year.
They both lost.
That's what you have. That's what. Rick, do you have a subject?
That was my joke.
He has jokes too.
We could talk about baseball stadium capacities. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
touched
what
on
we could
that
talk
with Doc
about.
Whaley.
Rick,
Let's talk about Texas.
Who's the bad boy?
Let's talk
you're
about
losing
Texas.
your
and-
window of opportunity of your subject of the day.
No. Does it infuriate
He's looking for
anybody
a
else other than myself when you hear that press secretary stand up there and continually lie about the voting rights bill in Georgia, the voting rights bill in Texas, the voting rights bill in 39 other states? She continually stands up there and says you can't give water to people. That's just an absolute half-truth.
And then the president, and she's doubling down, and the president, the cardboard cutout is, we're talking about Major League Baseball.
Moving the baseball hall, the All-Star game. I knew we'd get to back to baseball.
But, no, it infuriates me because I did a segment this week. In fact, I had an opportunity to do an interview with Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, and I want to say he only had 20 minutes. But actually, as all interviews go, my apology, they only have 10, and I stretch it out an extra 10. But no, seriously, I tried to focus in that 20 minutes on most of the misinformation and clearing that up. And it is, I mean, I'm infuriated when I hear you can't have a bottle of water. That is a lie.
It's just a lie.
Was David expecting the kind of blowback that has happened with that bill?
Yes.
So okay, so he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Wait, you're right. Only because there's activist groups out there that trigger every time something like this happens. They trigger. They put, and then they get big tech to carry the water.
The media machine grinds into gear.
Yep. The media machine grinds it and goes right along with them.
Yep.
Then they put pressure on the corporations. That's why you hear the CEO of Coca-Cola, CEO of Delta, the CEO of American, the CEO of Southwest Airlines, even Jeff Bezos is getting in. Said this is unacceptable. We have got to change this stuff. And then you have the rational person comparing the law in Georgia with the law in Delaware, and the rational person comparing the law in Georgia with the law in the voting rights in New Jersey.
Well, you do know Stacey Abrams was in New Jersey with Tom Murphy, the governor, doing a celebration to highlight New Jersey signing a bill. Basically, New Jersey's trying to end, election day, trying to move it all to mail-in ballots. But SB 202, when you say this is infuriating, it's a lie. And I watch CNN and MSNBC in the morning, and they come out and they don't even try to hide it. And I call it the byline in the morning is if you'll buy this, and you just walk across and see the bottom of the screen, Georgia's recent voter suppression law. Wait a minute, why did you write that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why
did you call it that?
Yes.
And then why, the fact that, they're making it sound like you can't give anybody a bottle of water when they wait 3 hours in line, these elderly people, when it's so clearly, how can they read that and then they pick out the piece? They only can't give it to them in the last 150 feet, and really it's only if it's got election material on it. Okay, you cannot campaign within
Poll
100
workers
Media
come
doesn't
out.
get pushed on misinformation.
No,
Exactly.
They do not get
All right,
pushed.
for you out there, let me just say this. For you out there, if you're in
they
Texas,
feed it.
Florida, Illinois, all of our friends across the country at watch, in the state of Georgia, you cannot campaign, have any campaign material, hand out any material within 150 feet of the door.
That means you can't even wear a shirt for a candidate.
You can't,
Right. Or
you
a
can't-
button
that's,
or a
that's
hat.
been Georgia law. Now, I have actually witnessed somebody at a polling location, a precinct captain, come out and tell somebody they had to move their car because it was parked within 150 feet and they had a political sticker on the back. Yes.
Correct.
And I thought one time when somebody did that, that's ridiculous. But you know what? I said to the person, I said, really? Look, it's everything. No matter what it is, hats, shirts. I have seen people in the past have to turn their shirts inside out.
Absolutely.
Go back.
Yes.
Okay. Take hats off, whether you like it or not. So we're tired of hearing the water and the food. Okay.
And you can carry your cup of water or
That's
your,
right.
your Yeti cup, your sandwich or whatever.
Backpack. Put your
yes.
Put
But
your
if you've got one that says
trail mix in
Biden
there and-
or Trump or
right.
Ted Cruz on it or whatever, you can't carry it past that 150 feet. It's always been that way.
And what happens
And
is
it's unchanged.
And what happens for the water lie is it's just that. You will have people under the guise of hydrating people. First of all, I've never met anybody that stood an hour in line 10 hours. Never met that person yet. Okay? I haven't. 10 hours. I've never. Have you?
No.
I've
but I'm
never.
just saying, you know, maybe we're not in the worst precincts where they
But
do
still
stand
yet, there's
reputedly stand that long.
But the lie is people standing in a line for 6, 8, and 10 doesn't happen. They don't want people going up and when you get into the metropolitan areas, taking a bottle of water where they buy the wrapper. How many of you have been to a golf outing where Titleist or somebody, just anybody puts you can buy
Everything's
water
branded.
right? And they don't want you going up and handing out water. Anything.
only
Or
reason-
saying, vote for me, I'm campaigning while you're at it.
But there could be a case of Dasani water there that the judges bring, or
The polling location can put out
you can
water.
take.
Right.
So I think
and
between,
yes, and there is usually water, especially down in Fulton County and whatever. They have water inside,
There you
so
go.
a person can get it. The only reason that was written specifically in there is this past time they handed out water and cookies and things with campaign slogans
Right.
on them. So that's why they
Well,
were
they put their sticker on there and stuff.
So they were specific. They specifically wrote it in, just like they did about the ballot boxes and whatever, because people got carried away with
and I don't
kicking
want to
the
split
law.
hairs on the time. I don't want to waste our time on this. But folks out there, if you're within 150 feet of that door, because I remember in Fannin County, early voting. Now let me take you back. Let me paint this picture for you because you and I had this discussion.
A trip in time.
So I remember early voting in Fannin County, and Rick, how long was the line? Well, when I got upstairs, it was all the way down the hall. Now I would say from the voting door to the jury room, and we know what we're picturing.
Yeah.
I'd say it's 150 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
Took you about 45 minutes.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
About 45 minutes.
Yep.
So I'm just going to use that and say, and that was early voting. I'm going to use that and say, if you're within 150 feet of that door, you're close to an hour window that you're going to vote.
Mm-hmm.
You should, okay, for most part. So that's your without water that they claim is the hour. So anything else on that? That's a good subject. If you want to go any further with that, anything else?
No,
The big lie?
And they just to end it, if you want to, and then you hear people that should not be getting into politics. That is the Cokes and the Deltas and the Home Depots. Go make your soda, just like you said. Really, just concentrate on this and don't worry about the voting law.
And make it
we
to
got
where
this.
you, the consumer, want to choose that.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You sell a product.
But why do corporations do that?
Because they're under pressure from these activist groups.
They usually have a DNI, diversity and inclusion person.
Yeah.
And they have employees that are minorities who they are worried about.
That's the same company that
Don't-
had white training.
Don't
be that
laugh.
white.
Right.
Don't-
Try to
don't-
be less white.
Try to be less white.
Don't laugh. I'm going to try to make some quick points and not be long-winded. Got it?
This isn't your joke.
No, but don't laugh because I'm serious. I want to make some quick points
Do you have
for
to look over your shoulder
our
for this
friends.
one?
No, I didn't know if we have Beth today. I know we don't have a pet of the week, but I don't know if Beth's coming in. So anyhow, but these are friends in Illinois, wherever you're at. One, the state of Georgia. These are very quick facts. Brad Raffensperger, when he entered the consent agreement with Fair Fight and so forth, in that document, okay, that we all feel and know is unconstitutional, but in that document, it allowed for drop boxes. So let's be clear, drop boxes expired. They expired with that agreement. Drop boxes were never part of Georgia state law. Now, this is whether you like it or not. I'm going to clean some things up of the Democrat line. So drop boxes. Number two, Sunday voting was an option in Georgia. You understand? Sunday voting, they made a big deal of it. It was an option in Georgia. SB 202, it was not law. It was not election law in Georgia that you had to have a Sunday to vote. So here's two things in the law now in Georgia that did not exist. The law now offers drop boxes. Whether you like it or not, it's part of the Georgia state law. But part of that now is the drop box has to be inside the early voting location, not outside. That's what they're upset because they can't roll by there at 2 o'clock in the morning and shove ballots in. But now drop boxes are part of the Georgia state law. Second, Sunday voting. There's two now, not just one, 2 days of Sunday voting. It is still optional for the county because counties have to pay for that. It's still up, but it's now Georgia state law. Okay, it wasn't before. So those are some of the things. What really gets them, and I just want to talk about this for a reason. What really gets them is the identification,
Right.
the photo ID.
Right.
Because the lie, the big lie, was this verification, this signature match verification. So when you do an absentee, and now we have certain things, we have now a certain watermarked paper, security paper, there's a lot in here, but the absentee ballot is still no excuse. So people, if you just don't want to go, you can get one. So a lot of people wanted that out, but that did not leave. Here's what's really got their hair on fire. Signature verification, exact match, right? So the envelope, this teeters on where's common sense gone. The envelope you put the ballot in, you have to sign the envelope.
The outside.
Right, you have to sign it. Then inside, you have to sign the ballot. They were verifying exact match, the ballot against the envelope. Now, you could go in the state of Georgia and look at the voter registration card. And we all know nobody had time in these offices to go to every voter registration card and check your registration. We all know over the years your L might be a little different, but the same person that may have misrepresented a signature on that envelope is the same person on the ballot, but that's what they would match. Then, if you didn't feel that signature matched, you brought two other people in. You had to have a quorum, and you had to have a unanimous vote to throw it out.
Unanimous.
Yeah, you had to
be 2-1.
Maybe it could have been, Bruce. Don't mess this up right now. Okay. Don't throw a wrench in it.
Okay.
Rick, check him for wrenches next time he comes in. So, but where I'm going with this is you had to have human get together.
Interaction
and say, yeah, I think, and nobody wanted to say, yeah, I think this one should go. So nobody touched it.
Too much peer pressure.
And that's where you always hear the spoiled ballots, the percentage was so low because nobody's thought. Now, and I'll wrap up with this, now for an absentee ballot, you have to and it's free, a voter identification, a Georgia state identification, it's free. So it's not a poll tax, but you have to have a picture of your driver's license, picture of the ID, and if you don't have one, you can put in
The last 4 digits of your social.
Your birth date, the numbers on your birth date, and the last 4 digits on your social, where they could reference to something.
Right.
Okay, that's what's got them hair on fire. Everything else is lies. There's nothing wrong with this bill. So
You have to have a photo ID, though, to get on a Delta airplane, though, right? Just
you do.
checking.
Yeah, you do.
Do you have to have a password to get into your Google account?
Bruce,
checking.
anything else on SB
You have
202?
You have to have a photo ID also for your EBT cards and whatever, when you got those originally.
Yes, I got it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You have to have a photo ID at Blockbuster, you know? Remember Blockbuster?
Well, all that were, go ahead.
Where does it go from here? I mean, there's what, 3 suits so far?
Yeah, there's 3 lawsuits. I don't particularly know where it goes because there's 3 lawsuits, and I'm up to the point that I don't trust the court. So,
Right.
you know, it depends on what judge. Do you have a subject of the week, Bruce? That
I wanted to talk a little bit about China. I mean,
go for it.
Where things are going politically and militarily.
All right.
I mean, you know, we have issues with China on, you know, the business side of things. With now everyone's got their hair on fire about the Uyghurs in these concentration camps. And then we have China building bases in the South China Sea and sort of flexing their muscles and talking tough with Taiwan, which they just believe is a renegade province, and it eventually will come back under the wing of the PRC, People's Republic. So just kind of maybe thrown out to the board, how should the U.S. be dealing with China now? Because they seem to go hot, cold, and you know, China's a growing issue.
And look what happened here. Also, let's add with China. When you say growing issue, the World Health Organization,
the
know,
WHO,
which what?
The CHO, China Health Organization.
I want to give you that.
You got to put the right label on it.
Who is Abbott and Costello?
Yeah, that's
no,
right.
Chew. Chew. Who? Hot Chew. No, anyhow. All right, moving right along. Stop. Reel it back in. Talking to myself. So the World Health Organization, just throw a number out. We don't have the big computers up. We were rolling in $400 million a year to China's $50 million, or $8 million, or whatever they're rolling in, right?
Yep.
Trump said, no, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have this virus that comes out of China, affects the world. Okay, no, we're not going to. Now the world. So we get Trump out of the way, and we get this administration in, and now all of a sudden everything is hunky-dory with the World Health Organization. The checks are flowing again. The money's flowing back to them. And what do they say? They can tell you it's a bat. They've gone back to the bat flu.
Yeah, and there's a third intermediate species between the bat and humans that they can't identify yet.
Man moth prophecy. But the bat,
yeah.
right? Now we're back to the bat.
And you got Fauci buying into that crap.
And WHO running interference for China. But the world, not just one continent, there's not one country, the world in a whole, basically the economy collapsed with the exception of China. China grew. China grew ahead of everybody else while we were compressing.
China says they grew.
Exactly.
You have to remember China. Everything you hear from China is true, but none of it's reliable.
Okay, I'll go with that. But the point is
it's the same as they never had any cases outside the Wuhan.
Yeah, but
province.
I think where you left it, I didn't give an answer in that. I think where you left it was, how do we deal with China? I don't really know. I mean, because I don't know if we're past. There's some things in the world I don't know if we're past the point of no return.
Well, you're just worried that the current administration, doesn't have the spine to really deal with China effectively. I mean, like Trump basically gave him a stiff arm and said, clean up your act. You're going to have tariffs on you, this, that, and the other thing.
Well,
And
also with all of this debt we've issued that China has bought the majority of, we now are so indebted to China, it's pretty hard to put up that stop or play any kind of hard card because they can call in their chips.
Well, I mean, in a way that works for us. I mean, because China doesn't want to, upset our economy so badly that they don't ever get paid for.
Yeah,
what-
it's a two-way
So-
street.
So, I mean,
we're
there's
at the mercy of the world, and we're at the mercy of the world. And let me just say this: I'll just throw two things out. Larry Summers has actually given a couple interviews that are interesting, and I'm not hanging my hat on Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton.
No.
But he's given some pretty interesting interviews. Now you have Yellen, Janet Yellen, that used to be Fed chair, that is now Treasury Secretary.
Mm-hmm.
When she was Fed chair, the debt to, I'm going to call it the debt to earning, because that's
GDP.
taxation, right? GDP. That's what kept her up at night. But now when asked, it doesn't keep her up at night. Why doesn't it keep you up at night? Well, I'll tell you why it doesn't keep me up at night is because interest rates are so low, we can manage the debt. Okay? I watched a whole interview with her, and I'm thinking...
During interest payments.
All right, so I'm thinking what you're saying is the world now has total control. And if you get together and say, you know what? We're going up 2 points. We're sunk.
Exactly.
We're sunk.
Yeah.
And they could do that. The world can immediately say, we're going up. And you say, well, wouldn't that hurt them themselves? Our collapse. So there's a whole lot there. So when you say China, I think, and there's another thing, COVID was used, if you go and do the research, my opinion, to do what I call, and you can actually document, you go look at this, an economic master reset in the world.
Well,
An attempt at a massive reset.
But
'Cause
see, then-
I don't.
You don't think it'll work?
No.
I think our debt that we're rolling up, I mean, let's just say this, we accumulated 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, and it was over a period of presidents.
Yeah.
And some presidents accumulated more than less within a year, a window of a year. With the, I know we haven't spent it all, but the 1.9, the other, this we did about 6 trillion. Now we're going to do it. We're going to roll up about 10 trillion immediately. Just immediately tack it on.
Okay, but do you think Joe Biden and the team is talking with Janet Yellen about layering on all this debt?
I think they're going to take all your money and then reset the world.
Yeah, but what Janet
I think
Yellen,
the-
Treasury Secretary, is saying to Joe about doing this? I mean, they have to be talking about this with her, getting her input. And she may be getting overruled.
I don't want to get. I didn't bring the aluminum foil, so I can't make the tinfoil hat right now. But
I got one in the car if you need it.
one world currency I feel is around the corner.
Okay. That
I
kinda
feel it's
segues
around the corner. But go ahead.
into-
I'm going to get out of that because I don't want to
Okay.
get yelled at
Yeah.
out there that I'm too conspiracy theory right here this close to Easter.
'cause-
So China. Anything else on China?
Well,
We're in second position now with the, if we raise the corporate tax rate, what's China at, 25?
25.
25%, we go to 28, we become dependent again.
You don't like Trump? Fine. He repatriated a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it did not come through a COVID relief bill. He repatriated a lot of cash, circulated a lot of cash, got the wheels turning on a lot of manufacturing.
And a lot of countries, after we lowered our tax rate corporately,
Lowered theirs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now it's going the other way again.
Yeah, now we're going to go back on top of the heap.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Go ahead, Joanne. Back to you.
well, one of my topics I want to discuss was immigration, which fits into this,
Let's-
and
let's
not
try- yeah, we got
immigration.
time,
not-
'cause we
okay,
got-
but
go
not immigration across our southern border. It is what is happening under the radar here. Is the United Nations has set up a network for migration, and it's to facilitate, this is their exact quote, large migratory flows. This is like the ones a couple of years ago from North Africa, where all of those people came across the Mediterranean and they tried to stop them, at Italy and whatever. Italy couldn't take care of them, so they let them through to Germany and France and overran
And you saw what
Germany
happened
and
then.
France. Okay,
Yeah.
and they still have not recovered from it, and they're still coming. The UN network, and it's 150 of its member states have joined in, of the 183 or whatever, and it exists to support the implementation of the controversial Global Compact for Safe, orderly, and regular, and I underscored regular, migration. Trump refused to support this and no longer sent representatives. But Biden not only supports it, but he now has representatives participating. And so now the UN is involved in moving more people to the U.S. border, okay? From all the other countries, see, they can send them to Guatemala and all the other Central America countries and move them through Mexico. Because among other goals, the global agreement aims to facilitate the expansion of what the UN describes as regular migration, providing more legal pathways for would-be immigrants seeking to resettle in wealthier countries such as the United States. That's their plan, their written plan, is to resettle people from all these other countries that they've aren't able to run in their own countries or have destroyed or whatever.
And predominantly here.
Yes.
I mean, as opposed to Germany or
Yeah,
Belgium.
exactly.
And so England's about the only one that's had some success in keeping them from totally overrunning them. I don't see that many of them getting to Russia, you know, but they are taking over Europe and they're taking over the United States with all of these people that need support to further bring us down, you know, to this one world currency, one world control. You got to get us all on the same playing field. You can't have someone wealthier than someone else.
And you got to wonder, the constituents of Democratic congressmen and senators,
Yes.
don't they complain to these guys and gals about this?
Does it
I
do any
don't know,
good?
but I'll tell you what, they
You know,
have
you can't think
overrun
it's just
Canada.
Republicans and libertarians that get upset at this stuff and go, you know, where are the limits on letting people come into our country willy-nilly?
And with COVID, you know, look at all the rules we have, but they bring these people in, and Canada just shut down Ontario, their largest province, for 4 weeks because of the rise in COVID, and yet they just let in 3,000 more people from out of this global compact for safe, orderly, and regular migration. There are 3,000 more from Haiti and Jamaica and all the countries that keep going to Canada. 3,000 get off the planes at no COVID testing, no nothing, and yet the country, they're landing in Toronto. Toronto is shut down. The people cannot leave. They cannot leave or go to work or school. The schools are now shut down, but they're bringing these people in. And
did you see in San Diego?
They're schooling the
school teachers are going to the migrant camps to teach the kids.
Yeah.
And the kids in San Diego school district are still sitting at home.
But
they
Bruce, they're opening in
thing
a
in
couple weeks anyway. That's what Saki said.
so they can go to school during the summer.
Yeah,
and San Diego.
they're opening in a couple weeks anyway, so it's not really a big deal.
Yeah,
Bruce.
the end of the school year. Makes sense.
What say you? I mean, you got $80 million being spent on motel rooms, but we have homeless living on the streets.
You got an administration
veterans living on the streets
that's criticizing people for opening up and wanting to attend a baseball game because of COVID.
Malarkey.
But he opens the borders and lets them in without even testing them.
All right,
don't people just don't look at that?
We were not able to have our pet of the week this week. Pet of the week today.
They're having an Easter egg roll at the
right.
adoption
So,
center.
and also tax tips with Beth Bennett will return next week. So that's give us a lot of time here. So what I want to do this way, if we want to take 30 or 45 seconds to discuss something, we would have the time. So Bruce, I want to go with winners and losers now.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to discuss one more thing, but
No. I mean, if we do this and you have a winner or a loser, and we want to make a comment, we'll have just.
Okay. Loser is sort of following on what Rick said. All the Georgia-based corporations and teams agonizing, boo-hooing over the new voter law. It's a good thing. Not the lies told by the media, Stacey Abrams, and lying BS Biden. Okay. My winner is also lying BS Biden. He was voted by the Mexican drug cartel as Coyote of the Month, which puts him in running for Coyote
That's
of the Year.
not Wiley. First name is not Wiley Coyote for you out there.
Coyote.
Joe's Coyote.
Yeah.
You made my day.
That's just like Florida named Cuomo the Realtor of the Year.
Exactly, right? Rick, winners and losers.
Oh, man. My loser is the Coke's Chief Executive Officer, James Quincy, who just keeps putting his foot in his mouth. He just, see this, just make your Coke, go down and run a bottling plant or something, but don't run your mouth about the elections, please.
Find out what happened to Fresca.
Yeah, and Tab. Oh, I found Tab at Publix. Oh boy. Anyway,
He's doing commercials now.
Yeah,
The public knows about Publix.
right. My winner is the Texas Senate for passing the Heartbeat Act and for also passing the Human Life Protection Act. Texas Senate.
All right, I like that.
That'll be challenged.
Go ahead.
Well, rather than winners and losers, I want to do an Easter joke.
There you
You
go.
can do all. How about that? You can have a winner, you have a loser, and we'll let you have joke.
We'll let you know if the joke is a winner. How's that?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell the joke then, all right? So this guy was driving down the road, and all of a sudden, the Easter Bunny ran across in front of his car. He tried really hard to miss it, and he ran over the Easter Bunny and killed the Easter Bunny.
No sound effects, please.
Right. And so he got out, and the Easter candies everywhere, and the lifeless Easter Bunny's laying there in the road, and he just started crying. And this lady comes along, she stops a car, she sees him there crying, and she says, "What's wrong?" She said, "I've killed the Easter Bunny." And she said, "I think I can fix that." And she goes and gets a can of aerosol out of the trunk of her car, and she sprays it all over the Easter Bunny. And all of a sudden, the Easter Bunny jumps up, he gets his basket, and he fills the candy and everything back in, and he hops off, and he turns around after about 50 yards and waves. And so then he goes about another 50 yards, and he turns around, and he waves. And he goes another 50 yards, hopping along, and he turns around, and he waves. And the man says, "What was in that can?" And she hands it to him, and it said, "Hairspray. Restores lifeless dead hair. May cause permanent wave."
20-minute wave.
I'm sorry.
For those of you in Rio Linda, that's H-A-R-E.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Restores deadless.
I'm calling that joke a winner.
That's a winner.
Right.
I'm surprised you remember the punchline. That's got to be tough.
That's a long
No, you
You've
kept
told
that
me
all the way through.
Have you rehearsed that joke?
About 37 times this morning. All the way here, because I never can do the punchline, and I was determined.
You did that really well.
Yes, you kept me right there. I was wondering
Say that
what
one more
this-
time. Say the punchline again.
Hairspray restores dead, lifeless hair. May cause permanent wave.
Every 50 feet, he stopped and waved. Okay. I'm trying to recover from
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
All right, folks. We have 2 minutes here till 10. It is Good Friday. Let me close with a couple. I don't know how to put that now. So I say this just joking around. Don't anybody get all serious, okay? But is Kamala Harris stoned? I mean, I'm just saying that. It's just, because they're taking her to task. It doesn't matter what you ask her, she laughs. You want cheese on your pizza? She cracks up. She was out there. Now, the reason I say that.
She did inhale.
She was out there, smoking and, listening to Snoop Dogg. So she's actually getting criticism now, the Vice President Kamala Harris, for why does she laugh every time she's asked some of these serious questions? So I'm just joking around. Is she stoned? Well, she may be up in New York. Because my winner of the week, and no, I understand the whole family, and I understand who this is, and I'm not upholding him in anything. But my winner of the week is Survivor, like he's on the island Survivor, and he's still on after season 4, week 18, is my boy Smooches up there in New York.
Smooches?
Yeah, Smooches. He smooches everybody. Just he sees you, he gives you a smooch, right? And you've known for years, but now there's what, 9 or 10 that have come up that have made an accusation that old Smooches, and that would be Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, Old Smooches. So he has another one come out. But what will we find out about who? Your clue is Florida, Rick.
Gates.
Gates.
We did not bring that up.
No, we didn't.
15 seconds. What say you on Matt?
Matt Gates?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Weird. I like that.
Trey weird.
Rick, 15 seconds.
It got even more weird when all of a sudden the missing FBI guy came into play again.
Yeah.
The guy that was supposedly held hostage in Iran.
In Iran, yeah. 14 years.
Yeah.
If he's alive.
Now Matt went to Niceville High School. That's along the Panhandle. And what do they call that?
The Redneck Riviera.
There you go. No offense, Florida fans.
No offense at all. In fact, I love it there.
Yeah.
So, but what say you on it?
Well, I mean,
It's so convoluted, right?
It's very convoluted. You know, his dad really wearing a wire? Was he working for the FBI? Were they being extorted to the tune of $25 million to get the FBI guy out of?
There's two investigations though, because the guy that was I forget the county down there. The guy that was the clerk or tax commissioner of the county had access to everybody's data. So supposedly he's in jail, and it's his friend was making what they call sugar daddy photo IDs.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, and he's in jail, and it's his friend. So pretty convoluted right there. I mean,
I'm of the ilk that I'm leaning toward the fact that there's something there. There's something there. If you go to Gates's Wikipedia page, you're not gonna believe what's on that. Now, granted, that's not gospel. You know, a lot of people can go in there and change Wikipedia around. So, but it's been updated, and let me tell you, you might want to take a look at it.
quick comment or.
Well, I didn't read anything from yesterday, and it changes so rapidly. And at first, because of the wires and what the extortion and whatever, and he readily admits that when he was single,
Still is single.
Yeah.
He
Engaged now, right?
He's engaged.
Okay, but I mean, you know, he paid for hotel rooms and airfare for people. He says and claims that nobody was ever 17. We'll find out. But if you're single and you're dating and, you know, you pay for women's expenses, isn't that what normally happens? I mean...
Oh, no. You cannot. We're almost done, and you throw the word normal in. I knew we were going to have... You should have ended with the joke.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you know what?
The normal should have been
You
in
know
Kamala
what?
Harris.
All I know, it's very convoluted out there, the story. Matt, we wish you well. We will wait, find out, bear the facts, okay? Let the facts bear out on this case. But anyhow... Bear, no fun intended.
Bear the hair.
I got to quit there. But that being said, Tucker Carlson said it was the weirdest interview he's ever done, right? It was weird. Tucker had that, wait a minute here.
You got that Tucker look going.
But there was some shade thrown on Tucker, too.
Yeah.
'Cause he had some things in his past.
Yeah, that weird interview.
Extortion.
Folks, Good Friday. Happy Easter. We hope you enjoy the time with your family and friends in a beautiful weekend in North Georgia or wherever you're at. Come back Monday at 8 a.m. because I'll tell you what, there's a lot going to be going on politically. Who else is going to run for Secretary of State in Georgia? Who maybe will step out and say, I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I'm running for Governor. The Georgia legislative session is open. That leaves the floodgates are open now for candidates to come out. So I think it's going to be an exciting Monday politically. 8 a.m. FYNTV.com. You guys have a great Easter. Thank you very much, Lonnie. And we wish you guys well over the weekend.
And I'll let you know if I got my potatoes planted. It's Good Friday.
Yes, Good Friday.
I don't know if you got your EPA
but there's